So, welcome everyone to codeHER's career training workshop. We ran this a couple of years ago with Goldman Sachs, but we're excited to start this again. To give you guys a little bit of background about codeHER, I'm sure a lot of you all know us if you've been to our past conferences. We're a global nonprofit that empower young women in low and middle income countries to start their own small businesses, to be financially independent, get jobs of their choice, complete their education, and be leaders in their community. I started codeHER 10 years ago when I was around 13, so I was a little small kid, but was really passionate about this mission and wanted everyone to be able to access opportunities around the world. And so that is why codeHER means so much to me. We work with technical education, so with tech skills, entrepreneurial skills, and then lastly, career and education, which our conference today is touching upon. Today, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction, then we're going to go into resume writing and cover letter writing. After that, we're going to do some jobs online, and then we're going to have a closing section and discuss the workshop tomorrow. So, for a little bit of our background, wanted to share between us and a couple of the codeHER leaders on the team call here today about our job search process or even internship search, our transition from like university to the workforce, at least how it's been done in the US. I know every country is so different, and we'll touch on how to kind of navigate that as well. But I'll start off having graduated university. I actually applied to all my jobs online. I heard about these companies either through my university or friends had applied to these companies. I specifically looked for jobs in consulting. So at Bain, BCG, and McKinsey, which are kind of the three big consulting firms. I've also applied to jobs at tech companies like Google and Microsoft, some hedge funds, and then also did some work in media and entertainment. So I worked at Paramount. So my process online was finding the job online, submitting my resume and cover letter, sending up a follow-up email to the recruiter that was in charge of that particular position at the company, and then going through the interview process with them. Sierra, would you like to go next and share a little bit about your online job search experience?
Sure. So I'm still in university, so I haven't had the transition to the workforce yet. But searching for internships for this summer, I applied mainly online through platforms like LinkedIn and Indeed, as well as using people in my network to see what they did this summer after their freshman year. So really just using my network and looking for jobs online was how I did it. Oh, Sonia, I think you're still muted.
Oh, thank you. Okay, perfect. So now let's get into the resume writing portion of this. A lot of you submitted your resumes to us to review, and we made a lot of the instructions and these slides based off of the common problems we were noticing in your resumes, and hopefully can give you guys some advice on what exactly you guys can do to fix your resumes. As a reminder, we're going to ask everyone after this workshop to review your own resume using the tips and tricks that we give you. And then after that, we are more than happy to review your resume once you feel like you've kind of used the skills and the tools that we've talked about here. So in the comments, would be love to hear in the chat if you guys have ever submitted your resume anywhere before. Why do you think resumes are important and what makes a good resume? And we'll be reading that throughout our call today. So would love to get a sense of what you guys know about, the current resume thing, and we'll go through why the resume is so important. So, the resume is really your ticket to an interview. It's your first impression to a recruiter. Well, no matter what country you're in, when they ask you to submit your resume, the resume is going to be something that they're going to spend a quick couple of minutes, sometimes even a couple of seconds, depending on how many applications they're getting to review your application. And so for a big company, let's say you're applying to Google or Microsoft, they're getting thousands or even millions of resumes. So your first impression matters so much to really have a very polished resume that you can submit to that company and really impress them. So, to go through what a resume entails, it's going to entail a couple of things. One, you need to have your work experience. Two, you need to have your education. Three, you need to discuss your qualifications and achievements. And then finally, think talking about your special skills. So, when it comes to your resume, what you want to really demonstrate here is that you are employable. So, how do you meet the organization and the position's requirements? Think about how your qualifications and education fit the job description. Think about if you have the right experiences and skills, and what you're really trying to demonstrate is that you have the right level of professionalism for the job. So, this is your way to really stand out, have a one-page document that's very cohesive, that fits the position you're working on, and make sure you have the right experiences and skills. Wait, Sarah, just want to make sure everyone's able to see my, or are you able to see my screen? Okay, perfect. Awesome. So, what you can use it for, you can use it for networking. If you find a position on LinkedIn or online that you are interested in, submit your resume off the bat to that recruiter, to an employee at a company, and have that page speak for yourself. Obviously, you will submit it with a job application or cover letter. You often will bring it to the job interview, and you can also link your resume onto your LinkedIn profile, which we'll discuss in the coming slides. It is the most important tool when we're applying for a job. And if your resume is poorly written or it's not formatted correctly, it can affect your job prospects. At big companies, the recruiter is the person in charge to hire someone for that job. They'll usually only read the resume for 30 seconds to a minute. So it needs to be concise, have a great summary, and really be succinct. To kind of share a little bit of our stories, I've used my resume to get every single job that I've ever gotten, including my full-time job. At codeHER, I review people's resume for our full-time role to make sure that people are a good fit for our internship and full-time program. So this really does make a huge, huge difference. So to go through our resume sections, we're going to have the personal info section. There's going to be an objective section that is optional. You don't necessarily need to have an objective. You're also going to talk about your education.
Lo tomo, lo tomo. Ahorita lo tomo con mi agüita.
You're going to have work experience, your skills, awards and activities, and volunteer experience. What I'm really going to focus on here is talking about our personal information section, the education section, the work experience, and the skills. So your format for your resume is going to be in reverse chronological order. So you're going to start with your most current experiences, and then you're going to go back in time to your last experiences. So the thing at the very top of your resume is going to be what you most recently did, whether that was in school or whether that was a job you've had, any experience you've had, and then you'll go back in time. So to give you an example of someone's resume, and I'm going to walk you all through this. Obviously, you have their name at the very top. You're going to have either, instead of your address, you can just put the city and country you're from. You'll then put your phone number, so whatever number that people can reach you on WhatsApp or call you on, and then your email address. Then you can include a summary statement if you have space on your resume, and that's just a one line or one sentence that includes what is your goal or objective. So this person's objective was to obtain a position as a product manager in the solar energy. If you've most recently been in university, then the next thing you want to do is include your education. And so if you've recently graduated or it's been a few years since you've been out of school, that's where you put your education. You'll put your university up there. You'll put what you studied. You'll put the classes you took that were important. And then you'll talk about the grades you earned. So however your country does GPA, you'll include that. So this is your education section. And then you have your work experience section. And so this is going to include what experiences you've had. Have you interned somewhere? Have you held a job somewhere? Whatever experience it is, nothing is too small to include here. This is just to showcase your skill set. So this is going to be your experiences. and you're going to bold your main experience, and then you're going to have a list of what company you worked for, where you did it, and then the city. I'll make sure to send everyone a template of how to structure this so you can fill it out yourself, to make sure that everyone has access to a copy of how to create a resume like this. You can include a leadership section. Here, this person was a president of a club at their university. For those of you that are codeHER ambassadors or codeHER presidents, this is the perfect section to include information about your leadership and your work that you do. And then you have an additional information section. And that additional information section is going to include languages you know how to speak, your computer skills, whether you like to travel, your interests, but any skills that are important for the job, you would want to put on that additional information part. This is another example. You would again have the name up top, your location, your email, your LinkedIn profile link, and then your phone number, your education, your experience, and then your skills and interest. This is mine from a few years ago, but as you can see up top, I had my address, number, email, my education that I obtained, my nonprofit experience, where I talked a lot about codeHER. I talked about my research experience, my professional experience, my honors and awards, and then your skills and interests. So you can divide up your resume in different sections, but the main one you want is to make sure you have education, you have your work experience, and then you have a skills section. So, as we kind of to summarize everything, you want to have your name and contact information. If you want, you can add a 1 or 2 sentence summary about what you're looking for. All relevant experience, even if it was unpaid, if you guys think that experience meant something to you or it's going to have some relevance to a current job, definitely make sure to include that. Your education, your coursework and certifications, your key skills, and you don't have to put your references on your resume unless your job asks you for it. You can always keep that separately. So let's go through some things to know when you're constructing your resume. Your name should be at the top in bold letters, and your contact details should be listed under your name. So this is your address, your phone number, and your professional email address. If you've not created a professional email address, which is usually your first name and your last name at gmail.com or outlook.com, make sure you do go ahead and create one. Also, we're going to talk about this in future sessions, but really stressing the importance of also putting your LinkedIn profile on there so employers can look at your LinkedIn and get some information about you. So this is sort of how it looks like. Your name, email address, phone number, your current city that you live in, your LinkedIn address if you have it, and then your current permanent address, which is optional. You don't necessarily need to put that, but just put the city that you're currently living in. Then you have an objective statement, which is optional. If you have space, it might be nice to include. This is about the specific position you're seeking, the relevant skills, or the organization that you kind of want to work for. So an example of an objective statement could be seeking position as an accountant for a company, seeking full-time accounting position, something like that, that you can put specifically on your objective statement. So this person's objective statement was to obtain a position as a paralegal at a corporate law firm. It's 1 sentence. You can choose to include it. You may choose not to. It really just depends on what you're interested in. Then your education. So if you've been out of school for a while, you'll put your education at the very bottom. If you've recently been in school, you'll put it at the very top. So here you're going to put the name of the institution that you got your degree from. You're going to talk about the degree that you received and what you studied. So if you're currently in school, you'll just put that you're currently in school and studying this. Your graduation date or when you're projecting to graduate. Whatever specializations, if you had honors, your class rank, whatever, information there in terms of how well you did in school, what grades you got. Put your relevant coursework, so classes you took that, have a lot of importance for your job. If you're studying computer science and want to be a software engineer, you would put the computer science classes that you took. And then you would have your academic experience. If you've ever gone overseas and studied, you can also include that there. So this is an example. You would have, the times or the dates you went to school, the university name, the city, what you are currently pursuing or what degree you got, what coursework you had, and then your GPA. And if you've studied elsewhere, you can also put that university down. Now we go to the most important part, which is the experience section. You should always list your most recent experience first. This should include the title of the position, the name of the organization and the location, so the city and the state and the country, dates, so what months and what years did you work here? Descriptions of the responsibilities, so what did you do for that company or in that experience? And then you also want to include exactly what did you accomplish with specific results to really showcase how much of an impact you made in that opportunity. So, what can experiences look like? It can be paid jobs, it can be internships, it can be volunteer community services, it can be academic or extracurricular projects that were involving teamwork or leadership. If you've done research or projects, it can really be a variety of things. If you've helped out with your family's businesses, if you've worked at a store, if you've started your own business, whatever that is, you can include that on your resume. So you can divide your experience into a couple of sections. You can include a research section, a teaching section, a leadership experience, a volunteer experience section. Depending on the kind of experiences you've had, you can add that to your resume and include that in these different section types. So, for example, this is someone that did a lot of work with public service. So, they've included different things they've done. They've been a kitchen manager, they've been a volunteer, they've been a peer counselor, they've been a resident assistant. So, they had a whole section for public service volunteer work they've done, and they've put everything in that experience. As you see, they are very specific with how many people they've helped. So, here they say they've directed a team of 60 undergraduates. They've recruited 975 participants. They've raised this much money. So when we talk about our resume, we really want quantifiable accomplishments to say how much you really did and what kind of impact you had. And that will be very, very important when you're creating your resume. So these are the specific numbers that they use. As you can see, it makes a huge difference because the employers that you're going to apply for jobs for want to see that you really made an impact wherever you worked. When describing your past roles, choose action words like achieved, researched, initiated, managed, created, produced, developed, presented. Words like this make a huge difference and it can really show employers that you were a leader in your accomplishments and your achievements and you really took initiative and did a lot of powerful things. Then you have your additional information section. So this can include computer skills, languages, volunteer work, sports and interest. You can use sections such as skills, activities, interests, languages, honors, and awards. So for example, for skills, you can talk about different skills you have. So teamwork experience, analytical thinking. For computer technical skills, you can say that you're efficient with Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint. And then for language skills, you can talk about the languages you know. So English and Korean or whatever languages you speak in the country you're currently from. So for example, here you can see in the skills section that in the additional information section that we have skills, so proficient in French and Spanish, experience with these different things, and that they've already also done volunteer work. This is another example. It's like the languages they know, the computer skills they have, and then other activities that they're involved in. And then here you can have languages, your technical skills, and interests. It really depends on how much that can fit in one page. So now what we're going to do is take a look at a couple of the issues in these resumes. And if Sierra, you don't mind, once I present the resume, to also maybe share issues that you noticed with it. And then we can have people in the comments also share what problems you noticed with them and what you would have done differently creating that resume. So we'll start off with this. Everyone in the comments will give you a couple of seconds to take a look at this. And then we'll ask everyone in the chat to put what issues and problems do you notice with this resume. So take a look at it, see what you guys think, and we'll go ahead and tell you ways that this could have been improved. We'll maybe give you about like maybe 30 seconds here to take a look. Okay. Okay. Sierra, are you ready to take it from here and discuss the issues with the resume? Oh, we have some people in the chat. The shadow on the name, that's a good point. Rowan, yes, that is unprofessional. Anyone else have any other ideas? Feel free to put. Profile picture is also not professional. Totally agree. Okay, maybe Sierra, you can go from here.
Yeah, so I agree that the photo is not professional with the sunglasses, and the overall format of the resume is not very professional. I think it's a bit too graphic. I think the past formats that we were seeing in the examples are much more clear, easy to understand. And this as well, the customer do go sales dollar sign, I think is also a bit unprofessional and just not needed and misleading. I think the font size is like very compressed and hard to read. And under work experience, the bullet points don't reach the end of the page, which is usually a rule of thumb. You should try and have your words reach the end of the page so that you use the space on your resume most efficiently. And I think overall the wording and just how he explained his experiences could have been more impactful by starting with action words. And yeah, those are the main issues that I'm seeing.
Great, thank you. And I think a lot of people in the comment also mentioned that in general on your resume, do not put your picture on it at all. Usually you don't need your employers to know how you look like until you go for an interview. So don't put your picture. It might even be like it could be like a case of discrimination that they might not want women to work for their company, whatever it may be. Don't include a picture at all and don't include any images. Um, yeah, at the top here, you don't want to put any sort of graphic. You want your name to be, professional looking, not like he has here. For your skills section, you don't need to add percentage signs as someone just put. You can just put your skills and describe them a little bit better. And then when your work experience, you want it to be more professionally written. He didn't include where he did each job, so you have no idea where, what city, things like that. And so these are just things that we noticed here that were a little unprofessional. And we're gonna send you all a resume template that you all can use, so you can just fill it out yourself and have a professional looking template for it. Okay, now we're gonna have you look at this one and see what problems you all notice. We'll give you a couple of seconds to take a look, and then Sierra can also talk through the problems that we see here. Give a couple of seconds. Yes, very good point. The font is unprofessional. Yes, there is no education. Correct. Again, color. You don't want any color on your resume. So no blues or reds or pinks. Just keep it in all black. Maybe Sierra, you can take it from here and kind of go through this one.
Sure. So the main thing I'm noticing is that the format is definitely not professional with the heading with the color. The font is hard to read and not a more professional font like Times New Roman. And I'm also noticing that within the experience bullet points, he's not quantifying his impact with his reporting job or organizing with the committee. And that's something that is very important when writing a resume to demonstrate the impact of what you've been doing. And then also, he only has an experience section and he's missing education or additional skills. So this resume is very short, which I don't think is great because he's not presenting himself to his fullest ability to present himself um, the best he can.
Perfect. Yay. Okay, yeah, that was great. Everyone noticed it. It's skills are missing, education is missing, don't really know any data about the impact that he's made. It's hard to read, it's colored, unprofessional. So yeah, we would want the resume to be much better than this. Okay, now for a different one. Why don't you all take a look at this and see what problems you notice for this resume? Good point, Eleanor. There is too much information, too much data. You can barely read it. Seems very crowded, correct? None. Font size is unreadable, correct? Good job, Deepa and Lisa. Okay, maybe Sierra, you can go ahead and also.
Yeah, so the major problem with this is there's way too much information. A recruiter is not going to read through any of this because it's just too small and there's way too much. You have to be very selective with what you're including on your resume, because as Sonia said before, they're only going to read it for about 30 seconds to a minute. And if you have a resume like this, they're not going to be able to read about whatever great achievements or experience you may have. So definitely should be more concise. Additionally, I don't think you need the graphics with the skills and languages because that makes it more confusing than just listing it in a written format. So yes, needs to be way more concise.
No, totally. Yeah, it has the opposite problem of the last one, which the last one didn't have enough information. This one has way too much. And it's just too long, hard to read, don't want the graphics. It should be much more concise and brief than this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to examine some experience sections. And I want you all to look at two different types of experiences that you can put on your resume. And we're going to have you all vote on which one you all think is better. And then we'll talk to you about why. So first, we're going to see this one. You can put it in the chat box. Why do you think this is a good experience section? You can ignore the numbers. I put that here for us to review. But just read the experience section and think about why is this good? And in what ways do you think it could even be improved? Yes, correct, Eleanor. It does have the dates of it. It has the location the company works at and has a key achievement, which sometimes you can include. It's like, what did you do? And here, it reduced the testing time by 55%, which is huge. A lot of what we see here, it shows that they're good at the key role. They develop 10 applications a year. They designed project requirements. They trained and mentored over 15 junior mentors. So here are the strengths of this. You can see that the achievements are qualified and quantified. It's professionally written. Their action verbs are used. This person trained and mentored, she led, she developed, and she designed, and their specific accomplishments. So that is a really good part of this experience section. Now we're going to do the activity that I shared. We're going to look at the experience section and share which one is better and why. You're going to put it in the chat bot which one you're going to vote for, and then we're going to see if you all got the correct one. So I'm going to share these two with you guys. Take a look at both the experience sections and tell me which one you think is better and why. You can put it in the chat and vote for number one or number two, and then we'll have Sierra kind of explain why that is. Okay, I'm seeing some people put twos. Okay, Sierra, do you want to explain this one?
Yeah, so number two is definitely stronger than number one. Not only are they including data to quantify their impact, they're also explaining that they managed this project for 3 years. So they're describing the length of time. It's just overall stronger because it's clear what their work actually achieved. So quantifying your impact is very important.
Awesome. Great. Everyone got it. Great job, everyone. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, seeing a lot of ones. Sierra, you want to take this one away?
So number one is definitely stronger. Not only do they explain how they increased online sales, but they also include a data point to see how much they did increase revenue. So they quantified it, which is great.
Yay! Okay, great job, everyone. I think we're getting a hang of this. Okay, what about these two? Okay, Sierra.
So number two is definitely stronger. I agree with everyone in the chat. They added more data to quantify their impact, as well as explaining in more depth what their position involved. Number one is very short, and you don't really get a sense of what exactly they were doing. Like negotiated terms is very vague, and that's not really like displaying their impact or their actions, in a very detailed manner.
Awesome. Doesn't necessarily mean the longer one's always going to be better. We saw that one resume that was super long and not good at all. But here, using things like you managed or you processed or you applied and what it resulted in is huge in making your resume really stand out. So we're going to give another resume example here. Again, you see how this looks like a good resume. Again, a good font, black and white, has that education, the important information, the experiences, data about what they've done. It could have a little bit more data here in that skills and interests section. So now we're going to go to a part that is something that you all definitely can use today, and that's about using ChatGPT for your resume. So I don't know if you guys have ever used ChatGPT before, but I'll do a demonstration on how we can use that. But ChatGPT is an AI tool, so it's an artificial intelligence tool that can help you a lot when you're writing your resume. It can write a bullet point for you, it can improve your wording and tailor it for a job. So, for example, you can say, okay, I volunteered at a local clinic to help organize health workshops. Then you ask ChatGPT, can you make this sound more professional for my resume? Then you can ask ChatGPT, okay, improve your wording. I said, I've sold products at my family shop. Can you make this stronger? And then you can ask it to tailor it for a job. Say, can you write me a resume summary for me applying for a service role? So things like this can really help you when you're creating your resume. And AI can not only help you write your resume for you, but it can really make this a lot stronger. So how can you use ChatGPT? One, whatever resume you currently have, you can upload it onto ChatGPT. So you can put in the PDF document or the Word doc and then ask ChatGPT questions like, can you make my resume sound more professional? What are 3 ways I can improve this resume for a customer service job? Can you rewrite these bullet points to show more impact? So these are some things that you can ask it to do, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. But it's such a great tool and website to use when you're creating your resume because it can make it so much stronger. You can ask it to look at your resume and suggest how to improve the language. You can write it in your native language and then ask ChatGPT to translate it to you in English. You can ask it to shorten it for you or make it stronger for an internship you're looking at and things like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and do a demo with you guys so you guys can exactly see how you can use ChatGPT. To do this, I would love to have someone in the chat put in a job that they might be thinking about applying for, and then we can kind of take it from there. Anybody in the chat have any jobs that they're thinking about applying for or um, anything that they're looking to get? You can put it in the chat. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Health leadership for an NGO. So you would put into the chat GPT, so that's the website name, chatgpt.com. You can say, I want to apply for a health leadership role for an NGO. I went to college in, let's come up with a country. Maybe you can say, I went to college in India. I have done an uh, codeHER nonprofit ambassador position and been president of the chapter in my country. And then I can say, I went to college in India and say, and studied biology. Let's say we can say that. Can you write my resume? Or we can say, help me write my resume. So I'll just put in a little bit of a question here. Let's say, okay, like I want to apply to volunteer work at an NGO. I want to apply for a leadership role. So you tell ChatGPT, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to apply for a health leadership role. Then you say where you went to college and what you studied. Or if you're currently in college, you'll tell it that. Then you can say, okay, this is my experience. So if you've been with us at codeHER, you can say you're a nonprofit ambassador, you've been president of the chapter in your country. Can you help me write my resume? So I'll put that into ChatGPT. And then it'll help you write it. So this is going to be a one-page resume draft that you can use that ChatGPT will generate for you that you can use as a template. So as you can see, it's be like this. Like we talked about, your full name, your city, phone number, email address, LinkedIn, then your objective statement. This is a great objective statement if you were going to use one, passionate and committed about health advocacy, background in biology, teaching a health leadership role. You would have your education, so you would put your college name, Bachelor in Science of Biology, your city, and the months you went there, relevant coursework, and then you could have your experience. So here they put in their codeHER experience. So you would have that you led a national chapter of a global nonprofit, you designed and implemented workshops, you recruited a team of ambassadors, things like that. And then you would have a skills section and then awards section. So then ChatGPT can personalize this even more. If you continue to talk to it, you can give it your full name. So I can put in my full name is, and then maybe I can also put in, can you also add my volunteer experience in a other NGO, and obviously you would tell them what NGO. It could be too long. What you want to do um is tell it make sure it only takes 1 page. And so you'll be able to copy and paste it and edit it. But here, as you can see, it will update its memory and then it'll now it'll include your name. You can tell it your city and country and phone number, so it'll add it here. And obviously you can edit it, so you can add your college name, things like that. Include all of your experiences here. Um, include now it included the volunteer health NGO experience, and then things like that. So you can continue to talk to ChatGPT and help that out. Maybe one thing I can add is, can you make the experience as an ambassador better with more quantifiable data? I helped improve the process. I improved the outreach by 34%. So then I can continue to work with ChatGPT and talk to them. And now you can see that it included all of the data here. So this is a really good experience section. Um, so this is talking about how much engagement they improved, how many students they reached in underrepresented communities. You helped onboard maybe 10 new ambassadors, things like that that can really help your resume. So we have a couple of questions in the chat. One thing I would do is when you're looking at different job descriptions, tell ChatGPT this is the job description of the job I'm looking for, and then ask it to tailor your resume to that job. So ChatGPT can help a lot with that. So Rawan asked, should I change my resume for every job description? I think with ChatGPT, you definitely can do that. You can just go ahead, let's say online, I find health NGO position in, let's say, India. Okay. And then let's see if I can find maybe one online at this website. Okay. Let's say I just want to do medical officer. This is the job I want. Okay, so what I can do is I can copy and paste this and put it into ChatGPT and said, make my resume fit this job description. And then I can copy and paste the job description. So then here's a one-page resume that's going to be tailored to that job description. And so what's really nice is that, like Rawan asked, it's very easy to change your resume for every job description. Just put the job description into ChatGPT and it'll help you come up with the terminology and the stuff needed to be successful for that job. Someone asked if there's a problem if we use ChatGPT. The only problem if you use ChatGPT for your resume is if it has incorrect information. So what you want to make sure you do when you use ChatGPT for applying for jobs is that you review each and every one of these lines. So you go through line by line exactly what the job description they came up with or the experience, and you make sure that it aligns well with what you actually have. There is no problem with actually using it to help you create your resume at all. If anything, companies are using AI to look at your resume. So you're totally allowed to use it to create a job. Just make sure everything is accurate and make sure that everything hits all the standards we talked about when creating a resume, that it has all of these different sections and you make it and you perfect it. So now I can copy and paste this into a Word document and have it on my own. I can also ask it to make a Word document itself and download it. So there's a lot you can do once you've used ChatGPT. And today we'll continue to kind of talk about it when it comes to other things as well. But hopefully gives you guys a good sense of exactly what you can use ChatGPT for when creating your resume. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the resume section? Sierra will be monitoring the chat to make sure that your questions are answered and that you can review it. And no, you don't want to put a photo at all for your resume. That's totally unnecessary and there's no need for it. Okay, now if you have resume questions, put them in the chat. We'll help you answer them. And now we'll go to the cover letter. So a cover letter as something that you can, a CV and resume, Rana, are usually pretty similar when you're applying. When they ask for a curriculum vitae, and that's what a CV stands for, or a resume, it usually means pretty similar things. So you can kind of take them um, as both the same. So now going to the cover letter portion. This is a one-page letter that's introducing yourself, summarizing your qualifications, and expressing your interest in the job. So, what are our stories? Before ChatGPT, used to write all my cover letters from hand, and it took a really, really long time. And in our session today, we'll show you how you can use ChatGPT to create cover letters within like seconds. But they are super important. This is the chance you have to show your story, to tell them why this job matters to you, why you're qualified, and so much more. Sierra, do you have anything to add in terms of the importance of cover letters?
Yeah, I think like it kind of differentiates itself from resumes because it kind of adds a personal element to it, which I think is great because with resumes, I feel like you kind of lose the person, but cover letters can kind of show your interests and your personality a little bit more and how it like relates to the job you're applying for.
Definitely. Yes, great. So, like Sierra said, the purpose is to really introduce yourself, state what your objectives are with your job, and personalize your application. It's going to highlight your interest and qualifications so you can tell the employer or the recruiter for that position that you would be a really, really good fit for this job. It demonstrates your strong writing skills and attention to detail. And really remember that if you have errors here, it will look bad for your application. So you really want to make sure your resume is as good as, or your cover letter is as good as possible. So you're going to research the position, you're going to personalize it. You're going to make sure that it has good formatting, proper communication. You're going to highlight relevant skills and qualifications. Show your personality, tell them about your story. And here's your time to convince the employer to review your resume and invite you for an interview. Oh, shit.
I think the electricity went off for a second.
Well, the Wi-Fi is done.
Wait, something happened. Yeah, I still need it because you're on a battery backup.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, sorry guys. I lost power, but I am back. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? No, maybe not. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Sorry guys. As I was saying, um to answer someone's previous question, yeah, make sure if you don't have an email that's your first name dot your last name at gmail.com, really try to see if you can create one. It's definitely a lot more professional, so I would suggest that everyone, if you're able to, create that resume or email. Okay, awesome. So again, this is your chance to really persuade your employer to review your resume and invite you for an interview. So, what are the three steps to writing a cover letter? One, you want to research the company, position, and even the recruiter who's reviewing your resume. You want to align your skills and experiences with the job description, and you want to follow a professional format. Especially companies that are international and have locations around the world. Oftentimes, if you're in a different country, they can sponsor your visa to work in a different country at the job. So, really make sure when you're creating your cover letter that you make a really good case of why, you deserve that job and why that's so important. So you want to research the company and really figure out what is the job you're looking for? What are its missions and values? What clients does the organization serve? What are the challenges they have? What are the company's goals? What are they known for? What are their recent achievements? You really want to show the employer that you care a lot about this job and that it matters a lot to you, and you're also done your research on the company. Then you want to align it with a job description. So, using the top 2 to 3 requirements that the employer is looking for, ask yourself, what have I done today that demonstrates I possess the skill, experiences, or quality to work for this job? So think about your work experiences, your internships, leadership experiences at your schools, what courses you've taken, whether you've done volunteer work or entrepreneurial activities. So once you kind of look at the examples of work you've done for the job, then you want to make sure you also follow a professional format. Try to address it to a person if you're able to, like dear so and so, Mrs. So and so, Mr. So and so. If not, you can say dear hiring manager or dear hiring team, and make sure that you end with sincerely in your first and last name. Keep your cover letter to one page. Use the keywords from the job description, proofread, tailor every cover letter to every position, and focus on the company's needs. So now we're going to go ahead and examine some cover letters. We're going to see what you all think about them and also kind of make this an interactive activity. So this is an example of a cover letter format. Here you're going to have your city, your location, again, like we did in our resume, your name, your title, what you're currently doing. If not, you can just have your name and city. You're going to do your opening paragraph. So what position are you applying for? How did you learn about it? What's your intent in writing this letter? Then you're going to talk about what your qualifications are. So, why do you want to work for this organization? What would you enjoy doing for them? This is the time where you really sell yourself. So, you show them, you highlight the skills from your background, and you really talk about why you're a good fit for the company. Then you end it off by saying that you would like to schedule a call with them, or you would love the opportunity for a first round interview. And this is where you really tell them that you're willing to give them more information. You can say that I'm really thankful for the opportunity and really, really do say that I'm very grateful to be considered for this job and show them why you'd be such a good fit. I'm going to have you guys take some time to read this cover letter, and then maybe Sierra at the end, after, a minute or two, can go ahead and share specifically, what was good about this cover letter and why um, this might be a good fit for a certain position. Yes, you can use the cover letter format for freelance jobs too. A good tip is that even if the job isn't requiring a cover letter, make sure you submit one regardless, or you email a cover letter along with your resume. It shows that you're going above and beyond and that you're taking extra steps. And for them, it'll make a huge difference that, you're showing all of this initiative to really make a cover letter and a resume and kind of go above and beyond for it. Yes, very clear and fulfills the format. Sierra, do you want to go ahead and maybe discuss what is good about this cover letter?
Sure. So I think the format is good. They include their name, their address, their phone number, and their email at the top, which is great, as well as the address of where they're applying. And they sign off with their name and sincerely, which is formal and correct. And then in here, within their writing, it's good that they clarify that they're a junior. In their university and what they're studying. It's good background information. Um, Personally, I'm not sure if we needed two sentences about her passion from her grandmother. While it is nice and a personal touch, I'm not sure that that was entirely professional to have two sentences. But it's definitely good that she's detailing why she believes this internship would be good for her and why she's interested. But yeah, that's some of the things that I've noticed.
Yeah, great. So it's not the most perfect cover letter, but as you can see, what's nice here is that she says that she wants to pursue a career in fashion upon graduation. And she said, that's my goal. Then she talks about why this internship position in fashion journalism is a good springboard for achieving that goal. She talks about why she's interested in fashion. She talks about her internship experience and why that would help for her current position that she's applying for. So you can make a lot of connections with what you've done in the past and what you want to do in the future and really show them why you're interested. We'll show another one that, I'll send you guys the PowerPoint so you can read it. But here you can say, I've attached my resume in this letter. This is your background. So I'm going to complete my master's of science or my bachelor's degree. I was an intern at this specific company at school. This is what I did. And at the end, you close out saying, I would love to speak to you further to discuss how I'm a match for this position. Say I'm eager to apply my energy and experience to this position and really show them why you care so much about this job. I've used cover letters for every job I've applied to. Each job cares about it differently, but it definitely does help to talk about your personal story and why you care so much about that job. And now we're going to kind of go through how you can use ChatGPT for your cover letter. So what you're going to do is you're going to paste the job description into ChatGPT. Just like I just showed you for the resume part, put in the job you're applying for. Then this is going to help the AI understand what the employer is looking for. So for the resume and cover letter, you don't need to have a photo at all. For the entire process until you show up for an interview, you don't need to submit any sort of photo at all. So don't worry about that. Ooh, sorry. Okay, so once you put into ChatGPT the description of the job, then you're going to ask it to do the following. Say, can you write a professional cover letter based on this job description and my background? Can you make it sound confident and passionate? Can you can submit your resume and then say, can you use my resume and this job description to create a one-page version of my cover letter? So now I'm going to give you guys a quick demo of how that looks like. I'll take, for example, our healthcare NGO role that we want to have as a medical officer. And then I've already submitted the job description from this website. I copied and pasted it. As you can see, this is the information about India's healthcare company. This is where I want to get my job from. So then I can go ahead and then here say, can you write a really strong one-page cover letter for this job, showcasing my passion and experience? So that's all I need to write into ChatGPT. One line saying, can you just write me a one-page cover letter? Then I'm going to click on submit, and then it's going to start typing. So here it's giving me two responses. I'm gonna go ahead and see which one I like better. I'm gonna maybe go with this one. And then let me show you guys what it's writing. Okay, so let's read this one. So here I put in my question to ChatGPT. Can you write a one-page cover letter? I already submitted the job description and I put it in the chat. So then, as you can see, this is exactly how they did the cover letter. You could have your name, your city, your phone number, email address, the date. Then you're going to have the person you're applying to the job for. So this is the person who she's applying for. Varsha is going to read the resume and the cover letter, so she addressed it to her. Then you say, Dear Miss, or whoever's working. And then you say, I'm writing to express my strong interest in this position. Then here you explain exactly what the mission is of this company. You say the education you've received, what you've done at codeHER, what you've developed, how you volunteered with other NGOs, why you're drawn to the mission, and then you say thank you for considering my application. You can reach me at this phone number. So with ChatGPT, it makes it really, really easy for you all to be able to submit your cover letter, submit your resume, and have it tailored for each job. Now, of course, you want to make sure that you are able to have these cover letters sound like yourself. You don't want it to sound like AI wrote it. So make sure that you add in your own personal touch, that you rewrite some of it yourself. But using ChatGPT can be a really good first step in having a cover letter draft that you can then go ahead and edit. Does anyone have any questions or comments? If not, I'm gonna also show you guys something else you can do. So say, can you write a brief message to send it along with my resume? So ask ChatGPT, also write an email. So here can be an email that you actually use for this position. So not only do you submit your resume and cover letter online, you also submit an email along with it. So here, this is a very concise email that you can send. You say, please find my resume and cover letter attached. I'm deeply inspired by the mission. I'd be honored to work with your team. Thank you for considering my application. You can even ask it here, make it more detailed. And if you ask ChatGPT to make it more detailed, it'll help you do exactly that. So here it'll kind of talk back to you. Um, for freelance jobs, I think for it depends on what kind of freelance job you're looking for, Rana, but they want to see both passion for the job and technical skills. If you're applying for, let's say, a role like software engineering or a technical position, what matters the most to them is that you have a technical background, but you always want to show passion for the position. Work in NGOs or education will care more about passion for the mission, or maybe even government jobs. Technical jobs may care a little bit more about your experience, but you always want to be able to showcase both. And tech-related fields, I would definitely go ahead and emphasize the technical skills part of it. So here's just an example of how you guys can go ahead and use ChatGPT to create your cover letter. Now, going ahead to applying for jobs online. No matter what country you're based out of, you can find jobs that will sponsor your visa to work in another country. And so these skills applying for jobs online, if you show that you're a qualified applicant, you can get jobs in any country that you would want in the US, in Canada, in England, um, or wherever other country that you might be interested in working in. And so applying for jobs online is that first step for you guys to get started. So what you want to do is define your career goals, research companies, customize your resume, network regularly, prepare for interviews, and always make sure to follow up. So first thing you want to do is define your career goals. No matter what stage of your life you're in, your career goals should be well defined and have a really good goal statement. So you want to define exactly specifically what do you want to do. Don't be negative at all during the process, but also make sure to be realistic and then tie your actions to each goal. So list different activities that you need to achieve that goal. When it comes to my current job, I kind of share this to you all. I found out about it because I've been reading about these companies for a long time, especially in consulting. And I applied for the jobs online through the company's website directly. So when it comes to researching companies, Sierra talked about using LinkedIn and Indeed, but there are a lot of different online job boards. And in your country, there might be specific job boards that you can look at. So look for companies that share your values. Research the company's leadership and business operations and understand the type of company you want to work for. We'll share this with you all so you can look for jobs on these websites, but it's another way to kind of take a look at what opportunities are available. Always make sure to customize your resume like we talked about and have someone review it. Another thing you want to do is network regularly. So if you guys participated in our conference, you know that we've talked a lot about talking to people, networking regularly, going on LinkedIn, reaching out to people that are inspiring to you, asking them to set up time for talk, thank them for their time, and look for ways that you can even find people on LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn account, just search up people that work at the companies you want to work for and ask them if they have some time to talk and set up some time to talk. And really, send them your email, set up these phone calls. It really makes a huge difference. When it comes to preparing for the interviews, make sure that you examine the job role, you research the company, you consider your answers to common interview questions, you conduct mock interviews, and make sure to sell yourself and be confident. After the interview, make sure you send a thank you note to the interviewer and make sure it conveys your enthusiasm for the job and the company. So, how can you use a tool like ChatGPT to find the right job? What you can do is ChatGPT can suggest jobs based off of your skills and interests, help you find the right words to search online, recommend websites to match your goals, and help write messages to employers. So if you're not sure about the kind of job you want, you can say, I'm 20 and I'm good at organizing events and speaking to people. What kind of jobs would suit me? Or ask it to give you 5 entry-level jobs for someone that's interested in women's right in tech. If you want help searching, you can ask what websites have online jobs for students in the Democratic Republic of Congo or Ghana or whatever country you're coming from, and ask it what keywords should I search for if I want a remote job in one of these things. ChatGPT can also write outreach messages for you, so messages for you to send on email or LinkedIn, and find scholarships and internships and paid fellowships in your field. So here is just a thing that you can read to kind of go over how ChatGPT can help with the applying process. Tell ChatGPT about you, ask it where to find the jobs, ask it for keywords, and then get help with applying. So ChatGPT can really help with the entire process about finding jobs that might be interesting, asking them what websites to look for, asking them what you should search online. It can even find jobs for you itself and then get help with applying. So to give you guys a quick demo, say, maybe I'll take so far as an example. I am so far and I am interested in jobs in fashion. Can you help me? And so far, can you remind me what country you live in? Or you can put, I think Ghana, right? I think so. I'm gonna take. So then it's going to search yourself and then it's going to tell you exactly what top platforms that you can go to. So here it says on LinkedIn, there's over 85 fashion related roles in Ghana, specifically in Accra. So it'll tell you exactly what's here. You can find these different websites. Here you can find listings for fashion designer, the GhanaJob.com, Ghana Current Jobs, additional avenues, and then it'll tell you exactly the tips and next steps that you can use to find a job. So here are the exact jobs that you can go to, and you can even click on this to apply for it for fashion designers, things like that. Let's say I am more interested in the business slash law side of fashion. What jobs, even outside of Ghana, can I access? So I'll go here, and here there'll a lot of jobs that you can look at. So here are some roles that it's going to tell you about. Fashion brand manager, fashion marketing specialist, fashion buyer, legal counsel for a fashion job. And it'll just give you a lot of different ideas that you can then look into. Then it tells you exactly where you can look into within your country. Then it tells you global remote opportunities here. And then it also goes down and gives you more credentials to help you stand out. So it's giving you different ideas of what you can do for certifications, or internships you can look for, things like that. And you'll continue to talk to ChatGPT to be able to get that information out there. So that's just an example of how you can ChatGPT for all of it. Then you can ask it to write a resume and a cover letter for you. Does anyone have any questions and comments going over those 3 parts about resume, cover letter, and applying for jobs online? That concludes the part of our educational segment for today. So we're happy to spend a couple of minutes answering your questions. And we'll share with you this PowerPoint so you can also read it on your own time and go over it. And you can also ask us for feedback to review your own resume as well. Feel free to put in the chat if you have any other questions yourself. If not, we'll go over the concluding part of our segment. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was clear. Okay, great. Make sure I'm gonna put it again. Yes, I will definitely share the presentation with everyone. Don't worry. And I'll also share the resume template that you guys can use. Um, so feel free to go ahead and do that. If you're not already in our WhatsApp group chat, please make sure that you are joined that so we can continue to communicate with you all. Make sure you're checking your emails. Tomorrow we have our networking and interview session. So in that session, we're going to talk about how you can prepare for interviews, how you can reach out to people online when it comes to finding jobs. In terms of when you have LinkedIn, like how can you use LinkedIn to reach out to people? Like if you're interested in working at a healthcare NGO, can you talk to people that work at like the Gates Foundation, really big companies? And nonprofits and talk to them. And we'll go over how you can network and also build your public speaking confidence for your interviews and really make sure that when you get to that point in the process that you are prepared and ready to go. Sierra, do you have any final words for them before we close off?
I just really enjoyed the session and it was great that all of you could attend.
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. We'll send you the session materials and good luck with your job search journeys. We're more than happy to help you guys along the way. So let us know if you want any support. We really appreciate it. Bye, everyone.